Good morning, guys. Chris from the Ultimate Recycler. I hope everyone had a fantastic Christmas day or happy holidays or whatever you celebrate this time of the year. I'm filming this now Christmas Eve, so I haven't had Christmas Day yet, but you guys have, because I won't get this up for a few days. We're back in the emergency storage shed today. We've got to get something out for this week, even though it's a busy time of the year. One thing's for sure, well, a few things are for sure: death, taxes, and a regular weekly video from the Ultimate Recycler. Getting some junk out of his shed, guaranteed. Rightio, let's go and get something this week. Remember, the last couple of weeks we had a really cool Sansui 1960s era amplifier, a great piece. The week before we had a 1950s Bakelite radio. So I've had a bit of vintage electrical. Today I think we'll veer off that course, but I don't know what, because I haven't had a look yet. Let's go and check it out together. It doesn't seem long ago that we just started on this shelf in the middle of the room, and we're already down past halfway, and we have a mysterious black carry bag, satchel, briefcase, not sure what more, might be a laptop case, maybe there's a couple of old laptops in it, and an army box, judging by the colour. I don't know if there's anything in either of the two. It would be pretty silly to pack them in there empty, because a lot of stuff got jammed in here and we were running out of room. So I'm sure there'll be something in those. Which one will we get first? I guess the black case. We'll take that through. We'll have a look what's inside. Hopefully nothing is alive. And who knows what sort of mysteries it will hold. And if we can get through that quickly, we'll then come back and get the army case or tin or box. And the week after then we have a real mixed box down here. There's a pokerwork wooden vase on top. I can see some workshop type tools, but I don't know what's in the bottom of it. And that's some sort of old valve radio something or other. So let's get the case through first, but there's a lot to look forward to on this shelf. Okay, there's definitely something in it, but I honestly don't know. I feel like I'm carrying a laptop, a vintage one. Let's open it and see. Now, for those new to the channel, a lot of this stuff has come out of other people's sheds that I've been cleaning out for a long, long time, over 20 years as a second-hand dealer. It certainly looks like a laptop, or at least a charger. Is it 19 volts? Most laptops are 19 volts or thereabouts. It's 15 volts. That is unusual. It says Toshiba on the bag. All right, let's open it up. So sometimes I don't even know what's in boxes, because we empty sheds often deceased estates and the stuff has to go quickly. Oh, it is a laptop, and it's a super thick one. It's like a paving stone. And so, yeah, it's always a bit of a lucky dip. It's a Satellite Pro 440CX, a super thick laptop. Oh, the little latch is broken, unfortunately. It is a Toshiba, 15 volts, so we've got the right charger for it. Okay. Let's open it up, see what it looks like. Yeah, it's a shame that button's broken. There we go. How's that for a clunky old laptop? It's lost a little mouse toggle button there. It has a Pentium inside. Windows 95. Okay, I guess, yeah, I'm not sure when laptops first came in. I guess that's early. The 90s is fairly early for laptops. Screen looks okay. I wonder if the old girl will power up. What's underneath here? Oh, that's a CD-ROM. Looks like it's actually removable. Oh, there's a latch there. Is that for it? There we go. You can take the CD-ROM out just like that. Interesting. And I'm guessing a battery behind here. I assume that's the battery. Chances are it's going to be no good, but hopefully it'll run off the power pack. So I guess we should boot it up and see what happens. I'll have a look online. These things should be collectible, I would imagine. What's in here? I guess that's some sort of, oh, it's Ethernet? Is that like a connection, like a Wi-Fi card? Although, did these even have Wi-Fi? Yeah, that's where your Ethernet landline or your phone line plugged in. Rightio. All right, let's power it up. I don't think there's anything else in the bag. So it's the original bag. very nicely padded. I guess it really should stay with the laptop. All right, let's get some power to it. Now it's time to fire this girl up after I've been inside and had lunch. And I did a little bit of checking while I was having lunch. It was released, the Satellite Pro 440 series were released in mid-1997. I found lots of sales for the 440 CDX on eBay, and they were actually all making $100 to $200. They were actually making a fair bit. A lot of them were buy it nows, but they were selling. But I couldn't find just the 440 CX, so I'm not sure whether this was the first one or it's a slightly rarer model. But anyway, it's a chunky thing. It would certainly work as a paving stone for a while. I did, of course, misname this unit here as a CD-ROM, and I did put a bit of text on the screen. It is, of course, a 3.5-inch floppy drive. So I guess this was, I don't know when CD-ROMs came in. They must have come in around about this time, but perhaps not on laptops. All right, I think this model too was the very first laptop with, or at least Toshiba's laptops, with an individual power brick. So we'll plug it in. I've got it set on my appliance tester. Where does it plug in? Behind there? No? Don't know what that is. In the front? No, we have headphones and microphone and stuff. Oh, where does it plug in? Oh, the back, I guess. It's probably the more obvious spot around here. So it's got the larger DIN plug for the keyboard. What do they call those? An AT, I think. Unless it's a bit hard to tell. Maybe that is the PS2 style one. Lots of other, are these serial or parallel ports? I can never remember which is which. Don't know what's behind here. Oh, that's a complicated little port. VGA, I guess, for monitor. Anyway, we've plugged it in. Let's turn the power supply on. We'll lift the lid first. And we'll just see if we have any life. Hopefully we don't get any smoke. Power on. I'm assuming the power supply works. Can't see any life happening here yet. There would be a power button, I presume. Somewhere. Was that the power button? Maybe that is, yeah. It's a power button behind a little sliding door. All right, I think it is. We'll give it a press. Oh yes, I saw some flashing. Oh, I can hear it booting up. It must have a hard drive in it. It's making some sort of noises. I wonder if anything's going to appear on the screen. Oh, it sounds like it's having trouble starting. I can hear the disk drive whirring and then stopping all the time. Now, it looks like we've got no life in the old girl. That's a shame. Oh, hang on. I can see the screen's very faint. I don't know if I can get an angle where you guys can see it, but there is writing on the screen. Toshiba Video BIOS version 2.8, copyright 1996, Chips and Technologies Inc., all rights reserved, but that's as far as we're getting. I'm pretty sure, oh, now the screen's gone blank. I'm not sure if you guys saw that in the camera or not. I'll have to check when I edit. Can we kind of boot it again? There we go, we've got a flashing LED on the A. Yeah, it's booted up. I can see the screen again. But it's just not kicking in the, I think the hard drive's got a problem. I might leave it on for a bit and see what happens. Okay, onto this Army box now. The laptop didn't come to life, so we'll talk about that at the end of the video and what we're going to do with it. This box is heavier than just an empty box. It's quite a rusty lid. It's partially open, but I haven't peeked. Let's have a look inside. It's quite rusty on top, and I think the hinge is probably a bit stiff. But let's, oh no, it's going to open. Let's see what's in there. Oh, well, the hinge is very stiff. Oh, okay. It's divided into little segments. And I think this is storage for vacuum tubes or valves. Or, yeah, just tubes, I think you call them in the States. Oh, yeah, we've still got some in here. That's an RCA, and it's got USA VT198A. So these would have been for, and sometimes, if I remember rightly, sometimes these valves, I'm going to call them valves, even though I know you guys in the States call them tubes. They sometimes have a Department of Defense symbol on them. So that's a 6G6G. According to the number on the side. There's numbers everywhere. So this must have been, oh, that hinge is very stiff. Don't want to break it. I'll put some spray on that. So they're not all full of valves, but they're really nicely cushioned. So this would have been for safe transport, for spares, for military radios, I guess, and other electronic gear back in the 40s. It certainly looks World War II-ish as far as the box goes. Oh, actually, what's it got here? Reception set, number 1, Australia. And it's got the valve numbers and fuses and bulbs and vibrators, which are used to convert, to have something run off low voltage DC. And I've explained that in other videos because valves need very high voltage to run. And you can't boost up a DC voltage to a high voltage without turning it back into AC, and that's what a vibrator does. Fuses, bulbs. So this is the spares. This is a set of spares for, I presume, a radio, a receiver. And it must be a full set of valves, fuses, bulbs, and it's Australian receivers, headgear, double LR, Australian. Yeah, so it's a spares kit. They're not all in here, but quite a few are. There's nothing in that one. What's in this one? It's a long way down. There we go. That's a little Philips mini watt. That looks rather second-hand. Maybe some were replaced and the second-hand or the older ones were put back in the box. That's another one as similar to what we had before. Can't see a number on the glass this time. Where did that come from there? There's nothing in that one. This one has a little metal can type valve. Made in the USA, RCA. Another metal can type one here. Looks similar. So some of these may be worth a bit on their own. I'll have to check the numbers. There's another metal can type. That's a 6SH7. I think that's a fairly common one. I will check the numbers quickly online to see if any are worth selling individually, but most of them are probably going to be pretty common. That's a 6SH7. Was that the same as the other one? Another metal can type one. Oh, there's one way down the bottom in here. Hopefully there's nothing alive in here. Oh, that's a glass one. Oh, that's different. Looks like a Doctor Who Dalek. It's got 2 caps on the top. It's a National Union Type 7193. Interesting. I haven't seen a valve like that before. There's one in the front here too, and it's sunk right down the bottom. Oh, that's a little tiny metal can one. And there's one in the front as well. So they're nearly all here. And here we have, there's some little lamp holders, so I assume that's where spare globes went. And there's the lid lift on this one. There we go. Oh, perhaps that was fuses. And it would have had, I think that was supposed to be a rubberized type coating in there to protect them, and it's all gone hard, it's decayed. Interesting. So there we go. A spares kit for a World War II era radio receiver. I'm definitely going to put some spray on the hinges because it'd be nice if that opened and closes properly. I'll try and clean the rust off a little bit. I'm not going to go to too much trouble. Was there any writing on the box anywhere else? I don't think so. It's lost its straps. And yeah, those hinges should free up okay. It's a bit rusty on the bottom too. So we'll clean it up just a little bit. We'll sell it as it is, but I will just check some of the valves and make sure there's nothing particularly rare, because sometimes rarer models of, well, rarer part numbers that they don't make anymore, or you know, guys restoring certain radios. I know valve amplifiers, some of the valves for those are quite valuable. I'll do some checking and I'll get back to you shortly. Now, I didn't even bother asking you guys whether I should go and get something else, because I know the answer would have been a resounding yes. So, Merry Christmas. We've got something else off the shelf. That only leaves that one box at the bottom for next week, and then we can move that shelf unit. So that's awesome. Seeing so we're doing World War II era radio stuff, I thought I might as well get this other one off the bottom shelf. Now, before we get to that, I did some checking with this one, and I freed the lid up. So the lid works much nicely now. I didn't worry about cleaning the rust off. I'm just going to brush the dusty dirtiness off it and leave it as it is, because really it won't make any difference to the price. The valves in here are all foreigners. They don't correspond with any of the numbers up the top. I think it's just been used for general valve storage. They're all metal can ones and some glass ones. There was only, I think, 1 or 2 spare spots. There's no vibrators. None of these numbers ones are in here. There's clearly no globes or fuses. So I think it's just been used as a storage box for general purpose valves. I don't know what they suit. I did look them all up online. Some of them sold were new old stock and still only getting $15, $20. I can't guarantee any of these work. I could test them on a valve tester. I do have one, but it's quite a rigmarole to set it up. The labour just wouldn't be worth it. But I've established that none of them are rare, and that's all I needed to do. Even this little Dalek one are relatively common and was selling fairly cheaply. Sometimes didn't even sell at all. So there we go. I'm going to leave this as it is, complete in the box. At least the lid closes and opens nicely now. It's going to go in the shop. I thought maybe $30 just as a nice relic. An interesting sort of, I suppose it's almost a museum piece, isn't it? World War II era. I don't think the valves will necessarily be used by anyone because, as I said, they're fairly easy to find online. But it's a cool old metal box. So we'll go $30 on that. And the laptop I'll talk to you about later, but I think I might even throw that on eBay. I'm still thinking. Okay, what's this one? Well, this is a similar vintage. It's got a tag on the top. I'll clean this off and we'll have a look. Let's use a bit of spray just to clean it up a bit. And it says, I'll take a photo and show you. Model ABK1 aircraft radio receiving equipment, 24 volts, 5 amps. Okay, the equipment consists of a control unit, a selector unit, and the radio receiver. I think this might be the radio receiver. And it's got a date here of 1941. So definitely World War II. Now let's make a bit of room on the bench. How does this open? Does it open? I feel like the lid should lift off. It's got some screws. Well, there's another little plate on this side. What's this one say? Accepted by Navy, placed in service. It should have a date there. Doesn't look like there's any dates written there. Okay, I'm thinking we need to undo the screw at the front and the screw at the back and lift the top off. All right, how hard are these? Oh, that's going to come out all right. All right, that's that one. Looks like it had other screws around the top as well. Oh, is there another plaque down this end? Aircraft radio receiver, serial number, and a heap of other information. So there we go. It's time to lift the lid off. I think it'll come off. Whoa, that's filthy. Absolutely filthy. Well, at least, interestingly, we can see on this one all these metal can valves that we had in the spares kit. I think they're capacitors, metal can capacitors. IF transformer. There's some Dalek valves in here. They'll be forever known as Dalek valves. What's that gadget? That's pretty unusual. We'll call it a flux capacitor. That's a little metal valve too, but geez, how rusty is it? I think this has had mice through it. It certainly had wasps in here too. There's mud nest. That is an absolute mess. Nope, I just had a wire fall off. No, that's not a wire. That's wood. That's part of a vine. I remember having a radio one other time that had vine stems all growing through it. So it's obviously not been stored in the best conditions, probably outside. I don't know if we can get into the rest of it. Where's all the controls? How do you tune it? There's a valve missing around this side. But that is an absolute mess. I'm going to hit that with the air compressor just to clean it up a bit. Try and brush it off a bit, make it a little bit more presentable. This is an aluminium cover. Of course, a lot of the aircraft stuff was made out of aluminium for weight considerations. Now, does the bottom section come off? And could the bottom section actually be the top? Maybe a speaker in there? But I don't know where all the controls are. Actually, I think I do now. They're not here. I have a feeling these were component type units and there would have been a control box that plugged into this. I think that's what happened. But given that most of the screws are out of the bottom section, I think we'll take that apart as well. And we can have a look underneath. So we've got one screw here. Most of the screws have been removed. I don't know what that means. Someone's been robbing parts out of it, maybe. One screw this end. Okay. How does that separate? Oh, there we go. It's going to come apart. It started to. I think we can probably sit it upside down if we're careful. Oh, here we go. Oh, what a mess. Okay, that's partly aluminium. I think it's all aluminium. It's just got some metal brackets that's stained it with rust. So your aluminium casing. This part, I think, is like a generator, like some sort of dynamo. It's rust. It's had water in it. It's been sitting in water. But I think this is like some sort of generator. What a mess. Oops. Okay, well, this is almost beyond a display piece, really. Alright, I'm just going to blow all this out with a compressor and brush it off as best I can. The motor part doesn't move anymore. So I don't know what drove it, how it worked. I think the aircrafts were, 24 volts, their systems, electrical systems. But I don't know what to go with this. It must have made a racket, must have made a fair noise, but I suppose the aircrafts themselves made so much noise that it didn't matter. There was no real noise constraints. But yeah, look, what a massive big resistor, wire round resistor. Okay, well, there's not much for this except just a real quick cleanup just to make it a little more presentable. I'll put the casings back together. We might leave the top one off. No, I'll put it all back together. I'll clean the tags up a little bit so someone can read it. We're only going to sell it cheaply, but yeah. Look at all the stuff on my bench. What a mess. So this is a little bit cleaner to handle now. I've taken it outside and hit it with the air compressor and brushed it off so it's not as messy. I've cleaned my bench down. I've just been doing some reading on this unit. Now it's a model ABK-1 as you saw before. And this was actually a Navy radio. The Air Force ones were similar, but this was for Navy use in their aircraft. And it was essentially a transponder. So it received signals from the ground, and it was primarily to do with friend or foe identification. So they, obviously the Navy needed to know if the planes in the clouds above were enemy or friendly planes. And this unit apparently automatically received signals from the ground, and it responded with a code to basically assure the people down below that it wasn't the enemy. And because that was the case, it was actually, pretty secret stuff. I mean, they didn't want this to fall into enemy hands, because if the enemy's got one of these, they put it in their planes and they fly over and everyone thinks they're the friends until they drop bombs on you. So it was actually pretty important for the war and for the Navy, as far as protecting themselves goes. So I was reading a bit about it online. It was quite interesting. They actually fitted them with a charge, an incendiary device that would essentially destroy this unit should to stop it getting into enemy hands. So the pilots apparently had two buttons in the cockpit where they had to press them simultaneously, and that would set off the charge. It wouldn't totally blow up the radio, because that would, be detrimental to them surviving their plane flight. But apparently it set off a charge within the radio that was more heat than anything, and it actually melted everything and fused all the valves in the circuitry to such an extent that if the enemy got their hands on it, they couldn't reverse engineer it and basically create their own radio. So that actually went on, and the moment I read that, I was awfully concerned that it still had basically a bomb in it. But it went in there, and apparently it was like a shotgun cartridge, or a little larger, and that's where it actually went. So it's obviously empty, so this thing is safe. So the pilots could activate it, or it would also activate automatically if the plane actually crashed, and it would set off this little incendiary device and totally destroy the radio. So I thought that was really interesting. This unit here is not a generator as such. It was called a dyno motor. So the one end was an electric motor that ran off the plane's 24-volt supply, and it drove a generator on the other end that actually produced high AC current. So that performed the task of what the vibrator does in normal everyday use. Because this was on the plane, I guess maybe there was reasons they couldn't use a vibrating device, but they basically had a little motor driving a generator within this radio, and as I said earlier, it must have made a lot of noise. But there you go. So it was an automatic transponder as such, or a transceiver, that sent coded signals and basically protect the airmen, protect the people on the ground from enemies sneaking up unannounced. And I guess it protected the airmen from being shot out of the sky because of friendly fire. So I thought that was really interesting. This unit clearly is never going to work again, not that anyone would probably want it to, but it's pretty rough, as you've seen, but at least it's a little more presentable. I'm going to put the covers back on. I'll put it in the shop with a little bit of information about it. But yeah, it's just a really interesting piece, and I wonder how many are actually still around, how many survived, dating from, what did we say, 1941. And it was a US Navy. I don't think I mentioned that, but it does say it on the tags. So there we go. That's a little bit of interest, a bit of history, World War II secret stuff. There we go. I'll put that in the shop, and I don't know what I'll put on that. Maybe $30 again, just as a curio. So there's our 3 items for this week. I did clean the casing up, and I gave it a quick spray with clear lacquer. It's a little blotchy on top, but it looks really cool now. And the valve box there I'll leave open in the shop. It looks really nice and interesting. And the laptop, I've decided I'll probably just put the laptop in the shop. And given that it's got a few breakages, like the latch for the top, it's also missing a cover on the side. It's missing something else I noticed, and the little mouse toggle thing. I think I'll just put it in the shop for $60 with the charger and the bag. And I don't mind that they go for more online. Most of them are overseas. I don't know how I'd go selling it in Australia. But that's okay. So there we go. 3 really cool items out of the shed. We'll check out the notepad next. Not much to see here. The maths is pretty simple. 60, 30, 30, $120 potential return for this week. Not bad. And we made some really good space. So thanks for coming along for another adventure in my storage shed. Remember, we've only got that one box to go at the bottom, and that's a really interesting looking box. Then that shelf out of the middle can be moved. More space, more concrete exposed, closer to the back wall. Not sure where we'll go next. So tune in next week. We'll work that out. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.